I'm sure that you have tried to use ChatGPT and Godot, and maybe you have not succeeded because ChatGPT doesn't have access to Godot 4 because its database is not updated yet to that new version, at least in the free version of ChatGPT. So that's the reason why you were getting some kind of old or not updated code, and therefore you were not able to use it. Or sometimes when you try to ask ChatGPT to give you a certain solution, the solution was not updated. And this is just one of the few problems that you may have using ChatGPT with Godot. Now, fortunately, I have been able to come up with lots of ways of tackling this, of dealing with these errors. So basically, let's get started right away, and I want to do this as practical as possible. So that's the reason why I have basically an empty Godot project, and basically let's try to create something super simple. So we'll start off with just a brand new scene, which I'm going to be calling main, and I will just save it right there. And the only thing that I really want to have here is a character body 2D with a character movement template, so that we do have it moving around. There we go. And then let's basically add the basic stuff such as a collision shape and a sprite. Okay, let me just set up this thing and also the ground. So here we have it, a static body, a character body with collision, sprites, etc. So let's put this player right over here, and when we run the scene, we should have everything working fine. So some kind of pretty simple platformer. So the first usage that you may want to give it to this is that, for example, you may want to copy all this code, and to quickly do it, you can press Ctrl A to select it all, and then Ctrl C, okay, to copy it. Then you can come back to ChatGPT and, for example, make it explain the code. And as here you are going to be providing the code, you don't really have to do anything else. You can just tell, okay, explain this Godot code, okay, and you're just pressing Shift and Enter, okay, to just put some extra lines. Control V to paste, Enter, okay. So there is how you can also do it much faster. So well, and ChatGPT is going to actually be explaining everything else. Of course, this is not going to be something that we actually be taking advantage of right now in this specific example, because it's quite simple, and we even have the comments here. But let's go to a more complex project, okay? And in this case, it could be a little bit more complicated to actually understand what is going on. I will open up this project. I know I downgraded the version. This project is actually meant to be played on 4.4 in any of the dev or betas. But well, I want to quickly explain this. And the fact that, well, maybe here you do have a kind of a much longer code. So once again, here, copy this with Control A, Control C, come back here, and you can even just here paste it again. And as you can see here, it's going to be playing once again. And in this case, it's actually going to take even much longer because it's a much longer script. But here you can check indeed how it's able to explain everything. So this is something that you're going to be taking a lot of advantage of whenever you are learning game development, you're following a tutorial course, whatever, and you don't understand what's going on, or even if you have written your own code, this can be super helpful. And actually here I have an example of this. This was actually a Unity C# code, but of course this can be applied to Godot. So I asked it super simply, how can I refactor this code to be cleaner? And I basically pasted the code because I was having like a lot of code duplication, as you can see. This was just a code that I wanted to handle how the object would flip, as you can see. So of course it wasn't clean, I knew that, but that's why I basically wrote firstly this code in a way that was able to compile and to play, okay, and I was able to play the game. And then okay, I knew that if I pasted this code in ChatGPT, I would be given the actual best version. And then basically here ChatGPT gave me the solution, okay, so it's much cleaner. And basically yes, this was good, but I didn't understood these two lines, okay, that were put over here. I didn't know that this was a ternary operator, okay, but at the first sight when I saw this, I didn't understood the actual logic behind this. So I'm basically ChatGPT once again went and explained all this, and it was crystal clear what was going on over here. So this is another usage that you can give it. you can firstly, instead of trying to write your code as clean as possible the first time, firstly just focus on making it work, and then just go ahead and copy and paste that code inside of ChatGPT and tell it to refactor it. Once again, take a look at this code. Here, flip, the flip scale x function was checking if flip using lerp to a certain scale. If not, just set the scale without lerping it, without making it, without linearly interpolating to that value. And as you can see, you don't have to understand the logic when flipping the scale. Why? It was quite similar, the code, okay? Just that here, the target scale was different, okay? So as you can see, there was a lot of spaghetti code, a lot of code duplication. So once again, this code was awful. But if you make it awful, if you make it clear what you want your code to do, then ChatGPT is going to be able to refactor it in no time. So you don't have anymore to spend a lot of time refactoring. Of course, for more complex code, it could not work properly. It may not work properly, but well, who knows? Okay, firstly, try it out. And now the other thing that I did want to show you is the fact that what I did like to do is that, well, I did have this game. Right now it is going to be a little bit buggy because in 4.3 there is an error with the background that you're going to see in a second. So let me select the main scene, okay, over here. And right now I'm going to see that the background is kind of breaking. This is an error in 4.3, so let's not pay attention to that. So in another way in which I use AI is, okay, I have the game. So what I do is that I go to ChatGPT and I explain in a new chat what is the game about. So for example, this is a the endless runner game in which the player has a platformer controller or something like that. I don't really know how the controller that we have there is called. It has a platformer controller. The player can collect coins and has to dodge some vehicles. Okay, and then now that you that ChatGPT has some context on the game that you have, you can ask him to provide some ideas in how to fine-tune or to add more stuff to your game. So give me, for example, 3 new game features to add to it. For example, so here we may have some interesting game ideas. So for example, here, power-ups and boosts, this would be amazing, dynamic obstacles, missions and achievements. And you can say, okay, yes, I did like power-ups and obstacles. So give me more ideas for point 1, for example. So here I have some power-up ideas. So here you can see how you can iterate a lot on this. Or even you can give me 20 game ideas, wherever, and you're going to then be able to add these things inside of Godot or even in any other game engine, okay? And when explaining complex errors that you may have in your code, you can do something slightly similar, and that's basically giving context. Let's say that, for example, well, here the player is quite simple, but our main script is much more complex. So let's say that we have some kind of problem in our main script. Let's say, for example, that the connection with the timer, with the decoration timer timeout in which we instantiate the decoration is not working properly. So therefore we have to pass some context. So we have to, for example, copy the main script. Okay, once again, shift enter, okay, to leave some empty space so we can divide the different scripts and ChatGPT recognizes the different scripts. So we have the main script, and we may also need to give the logic instead of the decoration that is being instantiated. So for example, here, I don't know, whatever context we may need to provide, and here even the hierarchy, okay, of the main scene. So let's try to open it up over there. So we may need to also explain the hierarchy. So we can go to the bottom. Once again with shift enter to avoid sending the message, because the enter, just the enter, is going to send the message. So the what, I don't know if this is going to be spelled correctly, but here it is. The hierarchy of the main scene is, and we can directly start copying the hierarchy that we care about. For example, timers, which is a node, and inside of it there is the progression timer. So as you can see here now, GPT has a lot of data, a lot of context, and based on this we can tell him, okay, I know the decoration is not being spawned properly. It is not being spawned at all. What can I do? Right now the code does work, so probably it is going to be trying to give us some debugging tools, some ways of understanding why this is not working. But well, there you have it. So first of all, it's going to kind of be explaining what the code does. So for example, check if the timer is running properly, verify the signal correction, check once again. It is going to give you tools to actually check if some code is working or not. And moreover, for example, if you turn on search to search the web, it is going to be able to use the latest data from the internet. So for example, create a 3D character 3D camera controller for Godot 4.3 stable release, for example. So it's going to check the most recent sources, and it's going to probably give us an appropriate answer, because if you don't enable this, it is not going to be able to access the latest code. So it's going to give you the correct scene setup and everything that you're going to need, and probably it is going to also be giving us some code. And here we also have the code, and everything should be basically updated to be used in the version. So I'm not going to be following all these steps, okay? But if we were just to copy this code, okay, and paste it, okay, in a 3D node, okay, so let's go to a 3D environment and let's create a brand new scene. So scene, new scene, 3D scene, and let's attach this right here. We shouldn't be having any kind of syntax error, okay, as you can see. And by the way, if whenever you have this error when pasting inside of Godot, okay, well, that here, well, I didn't have it for some reason, but this happens because you copy the code like this, okay, and well, learning is not happening, unfortunately. So let's try to do it again. So let me detach the script, create a new one, maybe with a different name. There we go, and let me paste the code, so I should be receiving this error. But well, for some reason it's not happening, but I believe that you understand what that error is. If you press here copy, okay, it is not going to be happening anymore. But if you try to, let's actually try to do it, because all the time it used to happen, and I don't know why right now it is not. But well, it is trolling me right now for the video. But well, you should always try to use this copy, okay, because it's going to actually copy it in a format that Godot will try to understand it. I have not still be able to find a solution for this, that it is not kind of tabbed, okay, you have to tab these things manually. I did not find a solution for this, but anyway, of course there are still other ways and lots of them to take advantage of ChatGPT inside of Godot, but I did want to show you the main ways in which I at least use them. I know it can generate lots of code snippets and things like that, but I didn't find it to be so beneficial for at least a beginner intermediate level. Of course, if you're a super beginner and you want to ask ChatGPT, okay, how can I detect collisions in Godot and create a code for that, probably it's going to be done just well. But if you are some kind of more advanced or more intermediate developer, when you ask him more complex questions without giving the proper context, it is not going to be working properly. So you do have to take all this into account in order to make the most out of it, and I hope that this video has been able to help you. So see you in the next one.